It was a warm Friday evening in Chicago when Emily Turner finally agreed to meet up with Jason Carter after weeks of chatting. They had met through mutual friends at a community fundraiser, and although they had been texting almost daily since then, this was their first real hangout outside of crowded events. Emily wasn't the type to rush into anything, but Jason's friendly nature and sense of humor had made her comfortable. "Are you sure you're okay with coming over?" Jason asked as they walked along Michigan Avenue, heading toward the train. "Yeah," Emily replied with a smile. "You've talked about your place so much I'm curious to see it." Jason laughed. "It's nothing fancy, I promise. Just a little apartment, but it feels like home." Emily looked around at the bustling city, the lights flickering on as the sun dipped low. Chicago had always amazed her, so full of life, stories, and people rushing somewhere. She was glad she had moved there after college, even if it had taken time to settle in. Tonight felt like another step forward, making new friends, finding her place. When they reached Jason's apartment building, Emily admired the classic brick exterior and the ivy crawling up the side. Inside, the place felt cozy, hardwood floors, a comfy couch, and a bookshelf overflowing with novels and sports memorabilia. "Wow, this is really nice," she said, walking inside. Jason shrugged modestly. "Thanks. I try to keep it clean. You should have seen it when I first moved in. Boxes everywhere." Emily set her bag down and glanced at a framed picture of Jason with a group of guys. They all looked around the same age, arms around each other, grinning at what looked like a backyard barbecue. "Friends from college?" she asked, pointing. "Yeah," Jason said with a nod. "We all went to the University of Michigan. Still close, even though everyone's scattered now." Emily smiled. She admired people who kept long-lasting friendships. Life had a way of pulling people apart, but Jason seemed grounded, someone who valued connection. They sat down on the couch, talking about work, family, and the quirks of adjusting to adulthood. Emily worked in graphic design for a small firm, while Jason was in software development. They laughed about how often they ended up working late nights, bonded over their love for baseball, and debated who made the best pizza, Chicago or New York. Just as Emily was about to tell him about her favorite childhood summer trips, there was a knock at the door. Jason looked surprised. "That's odd. I wasn't expecting anyone." He got up and opened the door. Standing there were three of his college friends, Ryan, Marcus, and Tyler. "Carter," Ryan exclaimed, clapping him on the shoulder. "Surprise. We were in the neighborhood and thought we'd drop by." Jason laughed, shaking his head. "Of course you did. Come in, guys." Emily watched as the room suddenly filled with energy. The three friends were loud, cheerful, and clearly used to barging into Jason's life without warning. Marcus noticed Emily and gave a polite smile. "Hi, I'm Marcus," he said, extending his hand. "Sorry for intruding." "No problem," Emily said warmly. "I'm Emily." Ryan and Tyler introduced themselves as well, and soon the apartment was buzzing with chatter. The guys started swapping old college stories about road trips, late-night study sessions, and ridiculous pranks they had pulled on each other. Emily found herself laughing along, even though she hadn't been there for those moments. Jason looked a little apologetic. "I swear I didn't know they were coming." "It's fine," Emily whispered back with a grin. "They seem fun." Ryan plopped down on the floor dramatically. "So, Emily, you've entered Carter's secret lair, huh? That means you get the grand tour." Jason rolled his eyes. "It's a one-bedroom apartment, Ryan. There's not much to tour." But Emily laughed and played along, letting them show her the kitchen, the small balcony overlooking the street, and even Jason's proudest feature, a signed Chicago Cubs baseball. "You should have seen him the day he got that," Tyler teased. "He wouldn't stop talking about it for weeks." Jason tried to defend himself, but Emily only smiled. She could see the loyalty and history these friends shared, and she liked how comfortable Jason was around them. It spoke volumes about who he was. The evening turned into an impromptu hangout. They ordered pizza, put on a basketball game in the background, and talked for hours. Marcus shared about his job in Detroit. Ryan joked about still living like a college kid despite working in finance, and Tyler described his recent road trip across the Midwest. At one point, Emily realized she hadn't checked her phone in hours. She felt completely present, enjoying the easy laughter and stories. As the night wore on, Ryan leaned back against the couch and sighed. Man, this feels like old times. Just hanging out, no stress. Jason nodded. Yeah, it does. Then he looked at Emily and smiled. Except now we got someone new to add to the mix. Emily felt a warmth spread through her chest. It wasn't just about Jason, it was about being welcomed into a group of genuine friends. When the clock struck midnight, the friends finally decided to leave, joking as they headed out the door. Jason closed it behind them and turned to Emily. Sorry again for the surprise visit, he said sheepishly. Don't be, Emily said sincerely. I had a great time. Your friends are awesome. Jason looked relieved. Good. I'm glad. They sat back on the couch, the apartment now quiet again. Emily glanced around, realizing that what started as a simple hangout had turned into something unexpectedly memorable. Sometimes, life had a way of surprising you, taking what could have been an ordinary night and turning it into something that reminded you of the importance of connection, laughter, and friendship. And as Emily left Jason's apartment later that night, she knew this was only the beginning of a new chapter, not just with him, but with the people who mattered to him too.